top-level science, path-breaking science, can often go on in a university without any connections with the history and philosophy of science, which is actually coming at the same material from a different direction. And so I wanted to create a program in which there were 3 or 4 way conversations, and in which the young people would be actually embedded in top-level laboratories. The 3 areas that we knew we wanted to disperse our researchers around in were evolutionary biology or zoology on the one hand, secondly, neuroscience and psychology, because there you have enormously interesting questions that relate to philosophy of mind in the humanities. And thirdly, the big questions about cosmology, physics, time, space. These philosophical questions are extraordinarily pressing, and they're not just background questions, they're actually questions the answers to which partly dictate how you set up your experiments in the first place. And so I was really delighted when some truly leading scientists in Cambridge were more than open to this possibility.
My name is Peter Woodford. I'm a postdoc at the University of Cambridge right now on a unique interdisciplinary project that's put philosophers and philosophers of religion into fields in the sciences that study topics of mutual interest. So right now I'm working with a lot of zoologists who are researching behavior in animals, so why animals behave the way that they do. And I'm linking that to some questions about why humans behave the way that they do and why they value certain things. What does the history and our knowledge of the history of life on Earth, what implication does it have for how we understand ourselves? And in particular, for how we understand certain values that we may have. For example, the value of selflessness or altruism or the care of others. As part of the project, I've basically been embedded in a scientific research group for the last 3 years, and I've actually been able to visit some of their field sites. It was obviously a unique experience for any philosopher to have. It was an amazing experience. Actually seeing what animals are doing in a direct way really enriches, our what it means to really understand their behavior, to ask that question about why are they doing what they're doing, which is really one of the central questions that the evolutionary biologists are asking and that philosophers are interested in too. What does it mean to ask why an animal is acting the way that it is? Ultimately, I really think the value of pursuing some of these big questions is just understanding what we believe and why we believe it in a better way. And that goes no matter where one begins with, no matter what starting point one has, whether atheist or theist, skeptic or believer. We all have something to learn about why other people believe what they believe and why we believe what we believe.
What does it mean to ask whether God exists? And what does it mean to say that the universe had a beginning? If you ask yourself questions like this, you're doing philosophy. You're reflecting on the nature of religion and you're wondering what it means that there was a Big Bang. One reason you might want to ask questions like that is that you might wonder how the physics relates to the theology. For example, is the Big Bang some scientific evidence that there was a creation event? Does religion aim to describe reality in the way that physics does? Does physics even aim to describe reality? And if not, what does it do? Can there even be convergence here, or is that misunderstanding one or both of these disciplines somehow? That's the kind of question that this project tries to address. And in order to do that, you want to talk to both physicists and theologians. The physicist may or may not be religious. The theologian may or may not want to think much about cosmology. But that's all the more reason to try to bring them into conversation.
I'm Daniel De Haan. I'm a postdoc working on the Templeton World Charity Foundation project in the sciences, philosophy, and theology. So the big questions are questions about what are the major implications that neuroscience has with respect to philosophical and theological conceptions of what it is to be a human person. There couldn't have been a better postdoc for me to land myself in than one that allowed me to have the opportunity to get some formal instruction. some formal training in neuroscience and psychology, spend some time in the lab, spend time in lab meetings and see what it's actually like from day to day with postdocs and graduate students working in a lab and interacting with their supervisors, as well as attending the lectures that undergraduates and master's students take in neuroscience and psychology. The people in my lab were quite open to the idea of having someone around from this other background, bringing in a different perspective. I think one reason why we should all care about these questions is because we all ask questions about what we are. We do it implicitly in the way that we behave, in the way that we address various problems and conflicts in life. But we also are very influenced and interested in various portrayals of what a human being is. So it's really important for universities like Cambridge to sort of provide an opportunity for hosting these kinds of interdisciplinary formative experiences. It's been an overwhelmingly positive experience. I'm very grateful for it. I just don't think it would have been, it's unimaginable how if I had gone straight into a full teaching position that I would have had the opportunities and experiences to be in so many different disciplines and have the real freedom to pursue the questions that I was interested in.
There are a lot of conversations about the conflict between science and religion. And what this project does is it allows us to try to engage in this debate in the most sophisticated way possible.
Academics working in the humanities, as well as researchers working in the sciences, are beginning to appreciate some of the difficulties that are arising from the degree of extreme specialization, where we're losing the ability to talk to each other.
This kind of a project, although it's rare, I think it's incredibly important. And hopefully in the future there will be more opportunities for people to have an experience like this.
Oh, I would definitely do it again. I'm very thankful and grateful for the opportunities that I've had here, and I hope that I can put it to good work in the future.
For all of us, it's kind of an experiment. It was unusual from the beginning, and we had sort of running jokes about this, about the fact that it was sort of an experiment in itself. I mean, I think it's so rich, there's so much to learn, that it's more like, this was a really great experience, and I hope that I've learned things, but it's really the start of something.
Well, Sarah Coakley has been an extraordinary supervisor. I think all three of us postdocs have learned immense amount from Sarah, and the way of going in patiently and listening to our scientific colleagues, she's really provided a paradigm for that.
I'm more happy than I could even have hoped for, I think, because I think this is a rather unique experiment in how to create a new generation of scholars who, quite early in their careers, learn this agility. But now that we've shown it's possible, and that we've shown it's possible in, frankly, one of the top universities in the world for scientific endeavour and mathematical endeavour, then surely it must be possible in other places. It was done initially on a wing and a prayer, but the very fact that we were able to find the right people, I think, was crucial. And there's no doubt that they have fulfilled all their promise and are now being snapped up into other jobs in different parts of the world.